Hi, this is Roger Burnley, and welcome to this video. A lot of times when you go to certain coaches, and this was my experience, I know that the first thing that a lot of people start working on is breathing. I don't typically do that because it didn't work for me. It worked in terms of after I had started learning a lot more about my voice, but in the beginning, that was never my problem. My problem initially, and why I didn't have the breath, right, was because I was cutting it off. And actually, and the same kind of thing goes on with having not enough power, can be either that you're cutting it off or you don't have the support breath-wise. But the first thing that I always try to get to is understanding because you always hear about diaphragmatic breathing and how important that is, and you're supporting the whole bit. Most people really have that a little bit reversed, okay? First of all, we breathe naturally diaphragmatically. And if you want to get in touch with that, all you got to do is lie down, put your hands on your stomach and relax, and you'll feel what diaphragmatic breathing is all about. What happens is that when we start to sing, a lot of times we start to cut that off, because we start to do other things that get in the way that actually start cutting off the breath. So first of all, to understand, our diaphragm is all of this area. A lot of times people think that it's about the chest, and that's actually, you say someone take a deep breath, the first thing you do is pull up the chest. Well, that's not all of the air. That's only air in the lungs. What we want is air throughout. And so what you can all do is put your hands here so you can feel. I want you to think about taking a breath, but as you're taking that breath, you're going to push out here. All of this is the diaphragm. Then you let the air fill up here. Then the other interesting thing that you can do, and I'll have you do this to kind of experience your power and how you can hold the breath. And then we'll talk about the other things that may be going on that's cutting it off. But first of all, when you take that breath and you're holding it out, that diaphragm is expanded, I want you to think that you're actually, to have your breath or to maintain it, I want you to think that you're actually pushing out on that diaphragm, you see? Because the longer that you're able to push out on that diaphragm, you have the air. The minute it comes in, and you let that go, then your air is gone, you see? And so it's just a matter of developing this ability as you're singing, and this actually works with a lot of my other little techniques too. When I think of taking a breath, I'm releasing and pushing out rather than going in this way. It becomes a whole reverse kind of thing, you see? So, I want you ladies just to do, we're just going to hit one note. I want you to all do it together so you can get a sense of this. And so we're going to, that should be a note with everybody's range that you can hit easily. So I want you to think about taking the breath first. And then you're going to take that breath, and then you're going to push out as you're holding, to hold the note as long as you can, okay? 1, 2, 3. Did it make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. And so but it just takes practice, because when we have the habit of taking chest breaths all the time, and then a lot of times there's so many things that can be involved in this, but when we break it down and make it real simple, is what we're trying to do, it's just a matter of understanding that when the diaphragm is expanding, you have air. And so you just become aware of the times when you're cutting that off. Now, the other thing that can happen is if you're ending up pushing too much to try to get your sound, what happens is that you end up pushing the larynx out of place. And it can be a lot of different ways. It can be up or down or whatever. It doesn't matter. The fact is that when the larynx is moved out of place, if you're pushing it up here to try to get somewhere or pushing it down there, the bottom line is I've cut off the air. So that's why I said I'm always first, before I start working on really getting the diaphragmatic breathing, I'm working on making sure that the air is not being cut off where it should be flowing through.
Well, the experience for me with Roger was excellent. It showed us, even though he focused on, just key point things, those small things made a huge difference in the sound and the tone, particularly for me.
Yeah,
what about you?
I love the way he just tweaked little tweaks that made a total different sound, and it made it more full and more richer, just like a flower blossom. Yeah.
And what I appreciated about the lesson was that while each of us may be good singers or decent singers, okay singers on our own, that's the difference between getting professional training and not getting professional training. We have professional training, just pulls it all together. So I appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely.